Well, hello and welcome to the channel. Today's going to be another day of working on the Cherokee. It's sitting right over there. Today I want to finish the rock sliders. I've got one side done. I'm going to show you how I did that and then make the other side. So hopefully I can get that finished up. It looks pretty silly with just the one side done, and I just keep getting it dirty and keep wanting to go off-roading. So I should just finish this. So I'm going to try to do that today, so let's get started. Alright, so this is the side that's done. You can see I made this rock slider in here, cut out the bottom, and then primed it and painted it with the 3M rubberized undercoating. And then I have it tied in down here, all the way over to the frame. Same on that side, and then seam sealed around everything. It's welded 3 spots at like 1-inch beads in a couple places to the bottom of this where the rocker was. And then the only other thing I need to do on this side is patch that panel eventually, but we'll get to that. But you can see on this side it's pretty bare, so I cut out the rocker panel, painted underneath everything up in there. It's a little bit dirty from taking it off road, but that's just the way it is. So I'll clean it up a little bit more and then make sure that piece that I cut over there is fitted for here and get that all welded in. So it's time to do a lot of welding. I got this piece cut down to the right length. And then what I did on the other side that worked really good is I made these end caps and then just welded them on here all the way around so that this tube is fully sealed, and that way water and stuff doesn't get inside there. Alright, so as you can see, I'm getting this bar all positioned in here. This is a 14 gauge bar, by the way. It's 2x3 stock, and the reason I went with 2x3 instead of 2x6 is because 2x6 was way more expensive, and then there's a couple little interference issues on this piece right here. There's like the bolt for the seatbelt mount, I think that's what it is, or for the body mount down there. So I wanted to avoid that, but also they didn't really have enough 2x6 for me at Elro when I went, and it was going to be like almost 2.5 times more expensive. So I just went with this 2x3. There's going to be a little bit of a gap back here once this is in, but it doesn't bother me. This has all been painted with the paint over rust and all sealed up pretty nice, and then it's going to be sprayed with a 3M undercoating, with a rubberized undercoating. So I'm not worried about the little gap being in here. This is going to stick down further, and I think it'll be fine, and it looks perfectly fine on the other side. So what I gotta do here is kind of notch this out a little bit so that the rock slider fits in. I know you're probably thinking that it sticks into this wheel well a little bit, which is probably not good, but this is actually the same way I have it on the other side. And then once the fender goes on right here, it actually fits in pretty nicely, so that'll be fine like that. And I'll show you on the other side real quick what I mean. So on the other side, I just kind of trimmed the fender. I didn't do the best job, but it fits in okay like that now. And then this does kind of stick into the wheel well a little bit, but as you can see, I had to trim more off from back there because it was rusted. So I'll probably just put a piece in here eventually that comes over and fills all this in, and then same with down in there when I do that. But for now, this is how I like it. I'm going to keep this length, so the length of the rock slider on both sides is the same. I have it at 67 inches, and yeah, so I'm going to go trim the other side a little bit so I can fit it in. Alright, well, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here because you can see I cut it. I must have just had this misplaced, but that was totally unnecessary. So now I just have a chunk missing, and this is all lined up and it actually fits in fine. So I don't know, I might weld that piece back on there and then weld it down in here, but we'll see how fancy I need to get. For now, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to double check everything. I'm going to take this down, weld the end caps on here, and then go from there and get this back in here. But I know the length of this is fine, so I'm good to go ahead and weld the end caps on. Alright, well I'm pretty happy with how that's coming out. I'm going to grind this down just so it's flush all the way around before I paint it, but just so you can see, if you're ever looking for a little garage welder, runs off 120, this Lincoln Electric I got off Amazon, flux core welder, is pretty awesome. Alright, well I just finished kind of grinding these corners down just so they're nice and rounded, and as you can see, this looks awesome all the way around. So now I gotta do the other side. Alright, so now what I'm working on is the mounts that go from the rock slider down to the frame underneath it. So as you can see here, I got one ready to go. I just have to weld this seam, but I'll show you on the next one how I cut this and then just bend this like this tab over. I basically cut everything off at an angle except for this piece, and then just bend it down, weld all the way around, and I'll show you how that looks. Go to this one, you can see comes out pretty nice at an angle, sits underneath here, and then goes over to the frame. So really simple, just make 2 of these, 1 for each side is what I did, and I can stand on this piece now. Like over here, I can put my foot on there, stand on here, and it's pretty strong. So alright, so this is what I'm left with here. Got the angle cut, and then I'm just going to bend this down, cut it a little bit if I need to, and then weld all the way around. And so I'm going to keep going and start welding everything together. So I have my 3 pieces and the car, so it's pretty simple, but I got this piece held up here with this bottle jack. It's going to go straight over to the frame. You can see I ground that down so I have a nice clean surface to weld to. I know other stuff is rusty down here, I'm working on it, but I'm going to get this all tacked in and welded, and then I'll go down to the other side, and then from there I'll prime everything, seam seal, and paint with the undercoating. So alright, time to get this welded. These welds definitely make me nervous since it's on the actual frame of the vehicle, but I'm just going to take my time, go nice and easy, make sure I know what I'm doing, and work up here too. So here we go. Alright, well this side here is all welded in, starting back here and then all the way down. So I know back here isn't the prettiest, but they're all good welds. Everything seems pretty strong, got it all the way around on both sides. So I'm happy with that. I'll seam seal all of this in so no water can get in there, and try to spray it through this hole right here on the back side as well. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this side came out. I just kind of went slowly, one kind of tack weld at a time, just to make sure I didn't poke a hole through this frame, since this frame is a lot thinner gauge metal than this is. So I just kind of took my time and welded upside down as slowly as I could, and it's not pretty, but it's good. Alright, well, it's been about an hour and a half or so maybe, or just an hour, I don't know, since I last recorded, but I got this side all wrapped up. This definitely takes a lot longer than it's going to seem like it does in the video, but hopefully this helps if you're trying to do the same thing for your 2-door, or even a 4-door, obviously, you just make it longer. But you can see I tacked it in a couple spots along there, just so it's a little bit more sturdy. And then under here is all welded all the way around, and then welded to the frame back there as well. So now it's just time to prime everything. We'll first tape everything off, wipe everything down, prime it, and then after that I'll do the 3M rubberized undercoating, which I use on the other side. And then yeah, I just have my little holes left to patch eventually, but I'm not going to do that today. So far so good. This came out really good, and it's definitely a lot of work, but I'm happy with the way it looks. I think it looks pretty awesome on the Jeep, and you know, I can stand on the end there, no problem. I can lift the whole car up from just the jack right there, so it's definitely strong and structural, and I'm happy about that. And I think it looks pretty good. I wouldn't want it to stick out anymore, and I wouldn't want it to be tucked under too much, so it's perfect. And yeah, just need some paint and it'll be done. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.